Good morning, everyone. Welcome to members of the Pointy Mountain State Land Authority Commission, as well as folks, members of the public and staff that have joined us here in this meeting in person, and also welcome to people who have perhaps joined by media. I will indicate for the record and for those listening that a good share of, or several of our members of this body are joining us virtually. My name is Lowry Snow. I'm one of the co-chairs, and the other co-chair, Representative Jordan Tusher, has joined us virtually. He had to be out of town for this meeting, but he's with us nevertheless virtually. Having said that, as way of background, we have a full agenda today, a lot of important issues that we will need to take action on. But before we move into the board business, there's an important thing that we'd like to take care of. We want to recognize several former board members for their invaluable contributions to this project. And I think they are all here. Ryan's still on his way. So today we would like to recognize Senator Lincoln Fillmore, Ryan Starks, and Representative Jefferson Moss. In just a moment, we're going to invite you to join us up at the dais. But before we do that, let me indicate that with respect to Jefferson Moss, he has been serving in the House of Representatives. I had the pleasure of serving with Representative Moss Jefferson for 10 years, Representative? And he recently stepped down from that position and has taken a position having been appointed by the governor to oversee the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, otherwise known as GOEO. So we congratulate you on that, Jeff. I'd also point out that Ryan Starks, who previously was the executive director of GOEO, has taken another position. He is the executive director of Utah, EDC Utah. I should know that. I was a member of that board for a number of years, but my memory's getting a little rusty. So with that, I'll tell you what, let's hold off a few minutes. Let's wait for Ryan to actually make the presentation because we only want to do this once. Oh. Okay, you will have it. So I'll make sure and you remind me in case I forget. So we will return to item 2 on the agenda. And by the way, I don't mean to leave out the good Senator Lincoln Fillmore. Senator, your service in the Senate now has been for how many years? Likewise, got an opportunity to serve with the good senator, and he makes major contributions there, and he's made major contributions to this body as well. And so we'll say a few more words when we get you up front, but I didn't want to leave you out of the group, Senator. So with that, let's move to item number 3 on our agenda. This is the normal and regular place where we allow time for public comment. Members of the public have had an opportunity in the past to share comments relevant to the point, as long as they follow the guidelines that we have passed some time ago. We remind everyone, including the public listening, that this is a public project, and as a board, we take serious our responsibility to ensure that the project reflects the public values and provides public benefits. So we value input from the residents, and we welcome comment during this period of time. Is there anyone here in the room, physically in the room, that would like to have some time to make a comment? Not seeing any hands and no one coming forward. I'll go online. There is one online. So let me, the individual, is it Angie Parkin? If you can hear me, you'll be unmuted, and if you would state your name for the record, and please proceed with your comment. We'd love to hear it.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
We can. I don't know that we can get a little more volume, but let's try that now, Angie.
Okay. Can you hear me now? It's
Yes.
interesting that the video's not working. Okay, well, I'm here. I just wanted to share some information that Dr. Joseph Moore up at the University of Utah, he's a renowned known for geothermal. Has the opportunity, he's willing to introduce key stakeholders at the point with Carrie Smith, who has done lots and lots of projects that incorporate both geothermal technology as well as heat pumps that produces both the ability to both heat and cool buildings. A good example is up at the University of Utah. What used to be known as the Student Union, that's now known as the Gardner Building, uses this technology that both heats and cools. I was just thinking that because of, you know, the because you want to attract forward thinking, innovative residents as well as businesses, that having this technology that produces both clean, sustainable, and cost effective energy would be advantageous.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you for the comment. Hold on just a second. Senator Stevenson wants to add to that.
Uh, Years ago, I'm in a business that uses a lot of energy, but we work closely with some folks that had some large greenhouse operations down at the point of the mountain. And that was their source of heat. And I've been in and out of those buildings a lot over the past several years. But that's quite amazing. And I certainly would agree. If there's a way we can capture that geothermal heat, it would certainly be beneficial to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you, Angie. And Angie, I would suggest, if you don't mind following up with our Executive Director, Michael Ombre, on that issue, if you have further input or if you have information to supply to us. Would that be okay? Angie's gone. Okay. All right, we'll move back to item. Oh, you had a comment? Yes. Please come forward and have a seat there. And I'm going to give you a microphone. If you would state your name, tell us who you are, and if you represent a party, let us know that, and feel free to make your comment.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Dylan Fitzgerald. I just wanted to piggyback on Angie's comment. I know Kerry Smith, and he started two companies, Sound Geothermal and the Gray Edge Group. The Gray Edge Group utilizes ambient temperature loops, which are 600% more efficient than standard natural gas at scale. If you integrate geothermal with the Sound Geothermal company and the Gray Edge system. So I would love to put you in contact with both of them. I think they had some interaction maybe with the previous team a few years ago, but I just wanted to bring that up again.
Thank you for that comment. And I would also refer you to our executive director seated to my left, Michael. I think you know Mike, and if you have follow-up, feel free to get in touch with him.
Thank you.
All right. Ryan Starks, thank you for joining us. We've kind of introduced this item a little bit while we were waiting for you, and already informed the group about your new position with EDC Utah. We congratulate you for that. So with that, we would invite you, Representative Moss, and Senator, please come forward and join me in front here. And I'd also like the board members who are here to join me as well for a photograph. We have a plaque here to present to each of you. Yeah, let's go around in front. Michael, we'd like you to join us too. So before I represent these, let me just say, I don't know what each of them are black that incorporates this sandstone, and that piece of sandstone, right? Some of it came from side breaker been preserved here. Kind of a symbol of long-lasting legacy you folks have the contribution. And so with that, let me go ahead and present Jefferson. Senator Gilmore. And so let's get a photo. Yeah, we want to. Gotta have a small. You have a comment to make.
I do, and I already lit myself up, so. I just wanted to thank the three of you. You know, you've been very instrumental as we put this together. This has been a process that's really gone on for a lot of years. And, but I've had opportunity to serve with Lincoln Fillmore his entire senatorial career. And very pleasant experience serving with him in leadership now in the Senate. Jefferson and I go back, I guess, to your beginning too here, and at least in the legislature. And Drew, instant respect, but him and I have had opportunity to work as co-chairs in appropriations for several years. And then within leadership, we've had but it's been a great friendship and very much respect your abilities and what you do. And then Ryan and I think we go back even a little farther than that. We go back to Weber State days. I chaired the board of trustees there for a few years. And Ryan was involved with Weber State as his entire family has been leaders in that institution for a long while as they've gone through school. So I just want to congratulate you, but I also want to thank you for what you've done. And the good thing is I think in the positions you have that we will continue to have a lot of crossovers, be able to work together. But you're incredible individuals. You've given a lot to the state of Utah. And I think the state of Utah appreciates very much. But this organization, what we're doing here is literally generational. And what we have done is generational. And I think we'll see the fruits of that for a long, long while. So, but thank you very much. It's been a personal pleasure to have you as friends and as colleagues as we work through this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Let's go to Mayor Ramsey. Mayor?
Hi, thank you. Hey, I just wanted to also thank our colleagues that served with us on the board for so long and have put so much work and effort into this project. Apologies that I can't be there in person today. I am serving as a mission companion this week, just for 1 week, as our daughter does some missionary training at home before she leaves for Spain. So I'm working from here, but I want you to know how much I appreciate and respect each of you and wish you well, both of you who have new exciting opportunities. That's really exciting, and just look forward to working with all three of you in other capacities. Thank you for all the service you've given to this project.
Thank you, Mayor Ramsey. Just one final comment. I'd like to piggyback on what Senator Stevenson said. I fully believe that each of you in your current capacities, your new capacities, our paths will cross. You're going to be able to continue to support the good things that you work to accomplish while you're here. And we look forward to having you be our cheerleader, Senator Fillmore in the Senate, and Jefferson in your new assignment. And I understand you're still going to be working with higher ed as well. So we're going to be working together, and Ryan in your capacity as well. So thank you again. All right.
You could stay if you want to stick around for
You're welcome to.
one more dragged out meeting, but thank you.
Item number 4 on our agenda is to consider approving the minutes of our meeting held April 9th, 2025. I think you've all had a chance to review those. They were submitted to you by Cece. If there are any questions or comments, let me get your light on, Mayor Walker. Motion to approve the minutes by Mayor Walker. Do I have a second? Second by Mayor Wilson. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously, and the minutes are approved. So the next item on the agenda is our financial update. It's a regular item on our agenda. This time, though, we will take a look at proposed 2026 budget. Our Director of Operations, Don Willie, we'll recognize him, and he will report on our present financial situation, but also give us a review of what is going to be proposed for our budget in 2026. We do recognize that the public has placed trust that we ensure that the Land Authority funds are appropriately spent and are consistent with the approved budget. We do appreciate the work of our Finance Committee that has included April Cooper and also Mike Ombre, and them also assisting Don in his work to make sure that what we're spending is in accordance with the board approved budget. So with that, Don, we'll recognize you to give us our update, and I think you're also going to talk about the proposed budget going forward. Am I right about that?
That's correct. Give me just a minute so I can pull these documents up. All right, thank you for your patience. So first I'll provide the report on our, this will be our April month end for budget forecast. At this point in April, we should have about 17% of our budget remaining. So if you look in that far right column, that gives you a glimpse into where we're at percent wise. If you go to the column just next to it, that's the actual dollar amount remaining in this fiscal year. So as per usual, we're trending very well in our budget. We've been, of course, very conservative in our spending and conscious about the responsibility that we have as stewards of these funds to expend them in an appropriate manner. A couple of highlights that I'll just share with you. If you look down onto the public utilities right here, we have used almost all those funds. If you remember from our last board meeting, you approved a budget adjustment here. We had a water bill that was due, previously paid by DFCM, that they kindly moved to us. They've been very generous in covering that for the Point of the Mountain in years past, and this was the year to move that to us. So we have paid that invoice. That shows us down almost to zero on that budget line. So just wanted to make sure you're familiar with that adjustment that we made. And then also as we come to the end of the year on exhibits, displays and awards, we'll end the year at that 8%. So we fully expended that line item as we anticipate in this budget year. We do have three requested budget changes, and Director Embry may want to speak to several of these. First, on our data processing charges, we have the fees that are charged us by the Department of Technology. We did not budget to have as many devices as we have, and that was just because of staff changes this year. And so we do need just a little bit more in the budget line this year. We have made sure in our proposed FY26 budget that this is well accounted for. And so we're confident with the number that we'll propose to you in that line, but we are asking for a $3,000 budget increase in that line. And then the two larger items that are falling in this fiscal year are on acquisition, the land acquisition, and then beginning construction on the outfall pipe that is required. And Director Embry may want to add some comment to those two items.
I'll go into more detail when I give my executive summary after you're done.
Okay. So we are requesting that those be budgeted for in this fiscal year to cover the cost of both of those items. So that is my report and the request for those three budget modifications in this fiscal year.
Thank you. Questions from the board for Don, Senator?
Don, I don't have a question, but I think all of us that are on this board recognize that in the future, we will probably, in order to take us to a point where we are creating tax increment at a rate that I don't think we'll get to where we're payback, but we will create at such a rate that we'll be able to handle all of our own costs in the near future. I had to speak to the Taxpayer Association on Monday, and Monday or Tuesday, I guess. Anyway, I explained to them that as these land use authorities began, it takes a cash injection generally from the state to get that done. And we would probably need to go back in for one more of these in order to get this organization to exactly where it needs to be and where we can grow quickly and under our own steam, so to speak. So I'm kind of in a position where I think I can lead that charge, but I am going to start that as we move through additional meetings with the legislature so that I don't surprise anyone during the session. But I do believe that if I look at this budget, look where we are and look where we need to be, we probably are going to have a little more money to begin get this where it needs to be. So
yes,
don't anyone be surprised if if you hear me sing. Okay.
We would appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Don on where we are with our current budget? Okay. I don't see any indication. So Don, you want to launch into your taking a look at 2026?
Yes, sir. Let me share this screen and we'll look to the future. All right.
That's right.
All right. I know it looks a little small. Let me try to. It's as big as we can. Sorry, lag in the Zoom function. All right. So as we do look to FY26, consistently over the last several years, we've ended the year well under budget. We've been more aggressive in our budgeting for this year than we have in years past, recognizing some adjustments, some staffing adjustments, and some additional needs. And so we would expect, and the proposed base budget that you see here does not account for the two capital expenditures that have been requested, those budget modifications. And so this will change if the board does indeed approve those budget modifications. And so I do want to just make you aware of that. In the past, we have budgeted for an additional part-time assistant. We've not hired that position. We do expect to bring that position online as discussed in our last board meeting. We have a job description that has been drafted and shared with the Department of Human Resources so that we can move forward on that. So this does carry over the 3/4 time position. We've envisioned a half-time in the past, but this would be a 3/4 time position that would be fully benefited to ensure that we can secure the right candidate and with the qualifications to assist us and maximize that time. We've made some just minor modifications to some of these smaller budget lines. Of course, right sizing our mobile devices as we bring on another person, and then accounting for the devices that are currently being paid for staff. We've kept consistent our advertising and legal expenses or legal publications. We no longer have legal publications from our amendment made to statute this past year. So this is purely for our advertising purposes. So again, as we go into phase one, working with the Point Partners, there is a responsibility, of course, for us to continue to push out the message and what we're developing here. I just returned last night from Select USA. This is one of those great events that we have an opportunity to go and share about this development and the vision that we have. This one in particular was for international investment opportunities, and there was tremendous engagement from the audience that we spoke with there. We have adjust our contractual services. This is one of our larger budget lines here. This reflects a slight increase. Again, right sizing does include in this budget line a new redesigned website. We do feel like it's time as we transition from the planning stages of the Point to construction and the vertical construction especially, to ensure that we have a website that represents that more client-focused stage of the development, and ensuring that we can provide the visuals and the functionality of the website that would be appropriate in a professional manner. For professional and technical services, we've decreased this, again, looking and making sure that we're budgeting appropriately. So this includes all of the services that we do anticipate in this coming year with a little bit of buffer. We have never fully utilized the annual budget for our attorney fees. So we have right-sized this budget line with the projected time that we would anticipate needing in this coming fiscal year. So this does demonstrate a reduction to that budget line. Moving down, most of these are fairly consistent. Again, the board approved a budget modification for utilities for that water bill. We do have an additional water bill that will be due. This is through East Jordan Irrigation. And so we've now budgeted for that. And we have also added some miscellaneous in there as well for any potential unexpected budget lines or invoices that we may incur through this transition of invoices from DFCM to the Point of the Mountain. We've reduced our insurance rate. We've never utilized this in full. And so our annual invoice tends to be around $3,500 to $4,000. So we've adjusted this accordingly to recognize those savings. We've added some funds for partnering meetings under that reception and meeting costs. So ensuring that we have clear communication and solid team building between the board, the staff, and the Point Partners. We've added some budget line to ensure that we can have and facilitate those meetings appropriately throughout the year. We've reduced some of our membership dues. This again is just based on the value that we've seen provided. And so you can see the breakdown of that in that budget line, but this reduces down to $16,000, still making sure that we're engaged with our community partners and participating in a meaningful way, but just doing so in a budget friendly manner. Increasing just slightly our convention seminars and workshops. Again, as we've had an opportunity in last year and this year to engage, we'll be participating in, we had Select USA this week. We have IEDC, which will be focused on retail opportunities and recruitment, and we're doing that in partnership with the Point Partners. And then also attending Bio International with the focus on working with and attracting life science companies. So those are the three that we're attending this year in this fiscal year, continuing potentially with those in the future, and then exploring additional opportunities that make sense with the industries, the target industries. Lastly, we've had the 200,000 in contingency. We moved that up out of that budget line in to cover the cost of the water bill that we received this year. We're adding this back into the budget for FY26 to ensure that we do have a budget line that can cover any unexpecteds, so that we're moving line items around as opposed to adding to the budget, requesting more from the baseline. Through that point, that represents a budget increase of $187,000. Again, that's largely due to the water bill that will carry moving forward. So being more conservative in several budget lines, but then accounting for that, it does show a moderate increase in the budget. Just a moderate increase in the Department of Technology fees that you see here. Again, we've overspent this year, and so with the amended budget, if approved, we'll cover that for the fiscal year. Bumping that to 10,000 just ensures that we can add additional mobile devices if needed, and still be able to remain within budget. Finally, we started last year, fiscal year, with 400,000 associated with our public art fee. This is a grant through the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity. The carry forward from that is $330,000. And so that we budgeted for the 330 moving forward. And that will go towards our public arts efforts, including a potential design competition focused on phase 1 and specifically the promenade, and selecting the first installments, beginning to select the first installments of public art in that visioning process. And in total, the budget, proposed budget for FY 26 comes to $3,531,000. And that just is a moderate increase over the prior fiscal year of $115,000. So again, being more competitive, being more scrutinizing the budget, maybe more than we have in the past, but ensuring that we have the flexibility and the revenues to efficiently accomplish our jobs effectively.
Thank you, Don. Before I turn it over to the board for any questions, keep in mind this is 2026 projected. And I failed to inquire whether April had any comments on wrapping up our 2025 budget, or let me ask you if you have any comments on the proposed 2026. April and Michael are on the Finance Committee. Michael, you may reserve yours until you're April.
Hi, thanks, Lowry. No, I've reviewed it all and it seems to be in line. So every month, Dawn has been providing financials so that we can kind of audit and check along the way. And then all of the line items that we're just about ready to close out this fiscal year looks like they're on track. The increases and decreases, the appropriations for next year, I approve this budget. It looks like we'll be spending in the right areas, and then they have just a little bit of contingency for some unknown things. But some of the larger things like the water bills coming, the salaries, consultants and contractors, it looks like we have a good amount budgeted.
Thank you, April. And by the way, we appreciate your work as a member of the Finance Committee too. Thank you. Questions from members of the commission, the board? I think your lights.
That's quite amazing that you can only have that kind of increase in the times we're in. I think very well done.
I'd second that, given all the activity that we've had this year and projected. Well done. Other comments or questions? All right, thanks very much, Don.
you.
Anything
Mr.
further,
Chair.
Don? Yes. Your
Chair
mic is
Tusher.
on.
Chair Tusher has a question, and then I just wanted to follow up as well.
Who had a question? I'm sorry.
Chair Tusher.
Please, if you can hear me, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So my question to Don really quick, what we don't see on the spreadsheet is the revenue coming in. And I'm just curious kind of where we sit, especially with the new expenditures of the acquisition of land and the alcohol pipe. If I understand right, we had like a one-time appropriation for about, up to $12 million. And then our ongoing appropriation is like 1.7 million, something like that. So how does this compare to that?
That's correct. So on line here, this would be our assumed base budget, our base revenue starting. So we would start the year off with the 12,560,000. This does change significantly if the board approves, and we do need to go back and approve the April financials with those proposed amendments. So if the board does approve that, we would reduce this, the 12 million by about $8 million with those two capital expenditures that would fall within this fiscal year. So I'm happy to calculate that. I just didn't want to make any presumptions with that amended budget, Chair Tusher. So you're right, the one-time funding that we received in total was about $10 million. We receive an annual ongoing appropriation of 1.753. And so we expect that will come in, that it goes through GOYO and then is passed to us. And then we do have some lease revenue from the site that is incorporated as well. But that's below $100,000. So a smaller amount, but still meaningful towards the budget. So if the base right now would be the 12,560, and that includes the 1.75 from the state and ongoing, and then the projected lease revenue from end of FY25. We get that paid out at the end of the year.
So, Mr. Chair, I'm just wondering then if we reduce this by 8 million, that gives us about 4 million ongoing. What's our run rate kind of at the current rate of spend moving forward? And how many more years can we operate with the appropriations that we have, assuming things stay the same in ongoing years?
Representative Tusher, we're getting a little bit of background from the breeze. Did you hear his question, Don?
I did not. If you could repeat that.
Could you maybe try protecting the mic a little bit?
Sure. Hopefully you can hear
That's
me.
better.
I was just wondering if we reduce that by $8 million, so we have $4 million left, and we're spending each year about $3 million, it seems, plus we get the 1.7. What's our runway? How many more years can we operate at similar levels before we run out of money?
Yes, thank you for that. So let me reshare my screen here. So I just did the calculation so we can see. So historically, we have budgeted around 3 million annually. The realized expenditures in prior years, and sorry, I've got some lag on my screen. So you can see last year we had a budget of 3.4 million. If we come over here to column R, this is our forecasted expenditures by the end of the year. So we forecast these out on a monthly basis to see what our trend actually looks like. So we're expecting to end this year with about 1.75 million expended. That keeps us consistent, right? So with the 1.75 that we receive from the state of Utah every year, essentially we're zeroing out this year. So we've spent that 1.75. If we anticipate next year the approved budget of 3.5, will we expend that? I'm not sure, right? So in years past, our trend has been that we've only expended about half of our budget, a little less than half actually. And so if we go on that assumption, the point can continue to operate in perpetuity. Naturally, more staff may be needed. Salaries may increase with cost of inflation. Other costs go up as well. So with the current 1.75, the realistic runway that we're looking at is probably 2 to 3 years on the current with the current funding allocated. That would be the ongoing. So just quickly up top here, so the amount that is being requested to cover in FY25 for the capital expenditures is $7,362,000. So based on that, next year, the FY25 base budget, the starting revenue would be 5.198. So that would essentially, Chair Tusher, would give us a 2 to 3 year runway if things remain as they are now and we expend our budget as we would expect, as is budgeted. If we run low, of course, the runway increases. If we burn higher, then it's a shorter runway. So does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, Representative. Anything further, Representative?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much. Other questions from board members? Do you see?
We don't have any more questions online, but we do, if we can, just need to go back and approve the April financials and then entertain a motion for approval of those budget line increases
For
for
2025.
for FY25.
Okay. So that's the action you're looking for. Before we take that action, just a reminder, everyone, the 2026 will be coming back for taking action. Is it in July?
In June, our next
In
board
June,
meeting.
okay.
The board will need to approve that. in June.
Next month. So this is a preview.
Correct.
Okay. Let's go to Mayor Walker. Motion is that we approve the 2025 changes that have been proposed. Do I have a second of that? Second by Senator Stevenson. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, I'll place it for a vote. All in favor of that motion to approve these changes to the 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you again, Don, for your presentation and also for your good work.
Of course. Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is to turn time to our executive director for his report to update us. So let me make sure that I have your mic on. Okay. Try that one.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you, Co-Chair Lowry. I'll try to get through this fairly quickly. Let's start with the critical backbone infrastructure. Current work progress. We have ongoing efforts focused primarily on major on-site infrastructure, including stormwater, clear and grub, and surcharge. The following package still require bidding. That's the water tank, transmission lines, the bridge structure over Porter Rockwell, and the river to range improvements, including road landscapes. The project schedule is as follows. DFCM has initiated a solicitation process for the water tank and transmission lines. This is to establish a short list of qualified contractors. We are hoping with Draper's comments to those two packages, we will be able to proceed to the next step, which is we're hoping next week. And then we could bid those, we're hoping by late June. The bridge structure is scheduled to bid in August. Once we've compiled all of the costs for those bid packages, we will then reconcile our expenditures against the $165 million revolving loan fund and adjust accordingly when it comes to the design of river to range and the streetscapes. Update on the right-of-way acquisition. We have signed the purchase and sell agreement, and I've been told today that the owners will sign it today, so that will be behind us. It's taken a long time for that to happen. I've also met with Bluffdale a few different times and their contractor in discussions for this outfall, the stormwater outfall pipe. We have had a few iterations of an agreement for a cost sharing agreement. We have finalized that agreement and are ready to sign it and move forward with that project. Subcampus entertainment venue. We continue to meet regularly with TPP. I believe the pledge agreement will be finalized by the end of the day. That's my goal. We will have talked in this meeting about the PID governing documents, so we might be able to finalize that document as well. The subcampus DDA is being modified and sent over to TPP for final approval, and the ground lease has been sent to TPP for final approval. So I believe by the end of the week, we should have all of those completed and finalized. Next steps, we're looking at a for-sale product. I met with Steve Windrip. There was legislation that was passed in this last session that carved out a tool, if you will, to reduce risk and offer a better interest rate in a condominium product. This is still about a year out because of the insurance requirements, but we're working hand in hand to figure out what best to do with, say, a 50-acre parcel of the project for a for-sale product. I believe that our legislature, it's one of our mandates to create affordable housing. And I believe that in the next couple of months, we'll put out, with your approval, an RFP, RFI process to see the options for what that looks like. As Don mentioned, we have worked with the Department of Human Resources to publish an admin assistant position, and we're going through that process right now to hire a part-time admin assistant. That's the update.
So it's quite an overview, quite an update. Let's ask for board members, any questions or comments, questions for our director about his report? Yep, in fact, I'm going to take a moment. Michael and I were talking for just a few minutes this morning before the meeting started. I asked him, how long has he been the director? And I think 6 months is what you told me?
Yeah, I believe 6 months.
I just want you to know from my perspective as one of the chairs, when he clicks off or ticks off what his major accomplishments he's helped drive and lead with good staff, I might add, in the last 6 months has been remarkable. No other way to describe it. And want him to know that the board appreciates his effort. We appreciate him taking our leadership directives and then executing them on and moving forward. And I've been able to be a part of some of these meetings where we've been able to see him lead and help us accomplish those milestones. So just want you to know we appreciate that, Mr. Director.
Thank you, Co-Chair. Appreciate that.
Other comments or questions for him? All right. Don't get a big head though. I told him that this morning too. Okay. Let's look down. We now on the agenda, next item, I don't know whether it's in order or not after director's report. It is. Next item is that we will consider going into our closed executive session. This is done pursuant to Utah Code 52-4-205-1A and subsection D as well. Those provisions permit the board to go into closed executive session only for the purposes outlined in those sections, which we now intend to do for the purposes outlined in those sections. With that, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session. Before I do that, I think the code requires us to announce where that closed session will be held. Do we have a room adjacent? Pardon? Right next door, room 450 is where we will convene our executive session. And afterwards, we will come back, we anticipate, we will come back into open session. So with that, we'll entertain a motion to go into executive session. This typically we need to record names unless it's a unanimous vote approving that. So I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Chair, I move we go into executive.
Motion is made by Mayor Walker. We go into executive session. Do I have a second? Second by Mayor Wilson. Thank you. We'll place that motion for vote. All in favor of going into a closed session to discuss the matters allowed by statute, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. I will rule that the motion carries unanimously with every member present voting in the affirmative. So thank you, members of the public. If you want to stand by, I anticipate, as I said, coming back into into public session to take action. Thank you. All right, folks, thank you for being patient. We should have taken a vote in that prior session to come into open session. I'm going to call for a vote now to come into open public. Motion to open by Mayor Walker, seconded by Mayor Wilson. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We're now in open public session. So we're here now, according to the agenda, to take action. There is, let me find my agenda. Item number 8 on our agenda is a proposed amendment to public infrastructure governing documents. The board to consider proposed changes to the PID governing documents. On June 11th, 2024, the Point of the Mountain State Land Authority approved of the creation of up to 9 public infrastructure districts pursuant to Public Infrastructure District Act. Today, the board will consider proposed amendments to the original document. JC, I think you attended the meeting where we talked about what was going to be in the resolution, but would you mind just do a quick review of that, please?
Yes, the resolution before you today is related specifically to the approval of the amendments to the Public Infrastructure District document that you approved last year on June 11th. So you'll recall we're coming full circle here. The only changes that it makes, there was an error in the creation of the document where we included the entirety of the point. The meets and bounds descriptions that was attached to the document was for the entirety of the point project, not just phase 1. In approving this, though, we are also adding the event subcampus. So this document only makes 2 changes. It fixes that boundary area for the PID so that it is only phase 1 and the subcampus agreement. And it is about 103 acres total. Will be the total there. So the maps are amended there. The other change you'll recall last year, we created 5 trustees for the PID. You appointed 4 trustees at that particular time and had 1 trustee that was not yet appointed. We're amending this document to say that the 4 trustees will be appointed that are already appointed remain and will be, when their terms expire, they will be replaced in the way that we previously dictated. But that 5th trustee, we are going to change so that they are a member. That 5th trustee will always be the executive director of the Point of the Mountain State Land Authority. So Mike will fill that role, or their designee, I should say, but Mike will fill that role. If Mike ever leaves this position, Mike's replacement would then fill that role on the PID, and that will be automatic. So we'll not need to come back to this board for appointment. By filling that executive director role, you will do that. So those are the only changes that we are making to the governing document of the PID. Again, is that appointment and then correcting the boundaries.
Thank you, JC. JC, you told me that the resolution needs to be read into the record?
It does, yes. And I also just need to notice, we've also included the public notice for this meeting to make it clear that the public notice was appropriately given for this meeting.
Right.
And then, yes,
so I want to make that clear. The public notice required under the statute was complied with. The matter is now before us for action. The proposed resolution has been explained by J.C. And if necessary, is it necessary now that I read into the record?
It
or
is. Would you like me to read it? Or you can make a motion and I can read it as part of the whoever's motion, whatever's easiest.
I understand. So let's go to Senator first, and then we'll go to Representative Tusher. Senator, do you want to defer and go to the representative first?
Let's go ahead and go with him first.
Representative Tusher, let's go to you.
Well, first, I'm just wondering, did we get a copy of this resolution? I can't seem to find it anywhere.
You may not have representative.
There was a miscommunication, my apologies, between JC and myself. We talked through these yesterday and I got the sheet. I apologize.
Okay.
My fault.
Okay.
I will forward them to you right now.
Okay. When you say it, to reflect the record that it was presented, is there any requirement that a resolution be presented in some period of time before the meeting?
Notice of the action.
Okay. So that was on the agenda.
Yes.
JC, I apologize. I didn't hear your response.
We have the public meeting notice that we would be considering this item.
This resolution.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to maybe have JC read the resolution then.
Okay.
I'm happy
It's
to do that.
constructed.
So JC, would you mind helping us with that? Read that for the record.
Not at all. This is a resolution of the Board of the Point of the Mountain State Land Authority amending the annexation area attached as Exhibit C of the governing document of the districts and related matters. Whereas on July 11th, 2004, POMSLA approved the creation of up to 9 public infrastructure districts pursuant to the Public Infrastructure District Title D, Chapter 4 of Utah Code 1953. Amended as the PID Act. The relevant portions of the limited purpose government document entities, special service districts, Title 17, and the Point of the Mountain State Land Authority Act, Title 11, Chapter 59, Utah Code annotated in 1953, within the boundaries of the Point of the State Mountain Land, and approved an annexation area which the districts are approved to annex into therein. And whereas pursuant to 17D 42013 of the Act, the district may annex an area outside of the boundaries of such districts by adoption of the resolution of the board with the consent of 100% of service property owners within the area proposed to be annexed into the districts of the governing document, authorizes the district board to annex such area without future consent of the creating area. And whereas the districts are governed in accordance with the District Act and the terms of the governing document, which adopted by the board on June 11th, 2004. Whereas POMSLA and the districts desire to amend the legal description of the annexation area attached as Exhibit A of the governing document and the map of the annexation area attached as Exhibit C of the governing document. And whereas POMSLA and the districts desire to amend the makeup of the Board of Trustees to include the executive director of POMSLA. And whereas pursuant to the District Act, a governing document may be amended by resolution adopted by the creating entity and the district approving such entity amendment. And whereas it is anticipated that thereafter the district will adopt resolutions approving the amendments contemplated herein. Now therefore be it resolved by the board as follows. The terms defined in the foregoing recitals shall have the same meaning when used herein. All actions heretofore taken, not inconsistent with the provisions of this resolution by the board directed toward the amendments contemplated herein are hereby ratified, approved, and confirmed. It is hereby found and determined by the board that the annexation of any portion of the annexation area is appropriate to the general welfare, order, and security of the development of the Point of the Mountain State Land Authority. Exhibit A of the governing document and Exhibit C of the governing document are hereby amended as provided in Exhibit B hereunto. The executive director of POMSA shall be a member of the Board of Trustees of the districts. If any section, paragraph, clause, or provision of this resolution shall for any reason be held to be invalid or unenforceable, the invalidity or unenforceability of such section, paragraph, clause, or provision shall not affect any of the remaining provisions of this resolution. All acts, orders, and resolutions and parts thereof in conflict with this resolution be and the same are hereby rescinded. Prior to the reconsideration of the certificate of annexation, the district's POMSA does hereby authorize the board to make any corrections, deletions, or additions to the governing document or any other document herein authorized and approved, including and not limited to corrections with the property descriptions therein contained, which may be necessary to conform the same to the intent thereof and correct errors or omissions therein, to complete the same and remove ambiguities therefrom, or confirm the same or any other provisions of said instruments in the provisions of the resolution or the resolution adopted by the board, provisions of the laws in the state of Utah and United States. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
This must be a resolution where the attorneys got paid by the word.
It's a resolution that complies with the statute passed by the legislature.
Good answer.
That is a good answer. All right, folks. So the action that, potential action that is in front of us is to consider this resolution. The chair,
Mr. Chair,
excuse me.
I'll make a motion that we support the resolution as read and as presented by legal counsel.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson. It's been proposed by her that we support and approve the resolution as read and that we adopt it. Mayor Walker, did you second that motion?
I did.
You second that motion? That's the motion before us and it's been seconded. Let's ask for if there is discussion on the motion.
Hi, this is Mayor Ramsey. My only discussion on this would be going forward, I'm not going to plan to vote on any resolutions that I've not seen in advance of the meeting. I've just never heard of that. And I think this is the second time in a row that that's happened. It makes me less comfortable. And I would like to formally request that any resolutions that we're considering be sent to the board in advance so we have the chance to review them before the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Representative Tusher, our co-chair.
Thank you. I have the same concern that Mayor Ramsey has, and as such, I won't vote for this resolution. I think this resolution has attachments that we haven't seen. It's language that is fairly technical and complex. And in light that we passed a former resolution a year ago that had mistakes in it, that actually included the entire area of the project, and partly why we're having to run this resolution is because we didn't do the right due diligence a year ago. I think we need to take some time to read through this thing.
Thank you, Representative. Further discussion to the motion? Not seen any hands and not seen any indication to speak. I will place the motion that is before us for vote. The motion is to approve Resolution 2025-03 as read and as supplied, a copy supplied to us. All in favor of that motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed say nay.
Nay.
So let me indicate the count. I think that is with 4 ayes and 1 nay. Am I correct? Any nays other than Representative Tusher? I just want to make sure we have a record. Thank you. I'll rule that the motion carries. The resolution is approved. Let's go to the next matter on the agenda.
I actually think you don't need to. It was just dealt with in that same action item.
I think you're correct. That action, or excuse me, that matter likewise has been dealt with in our last action. So the last matter on the agenda is to consider a motion to adjourn. Chair would accept such a motion or at least consider such a motion.
I would so.
So moved by Senator Stevenson. Do I have a second? Second by Mayor Wilson. All in favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much.